Hello, Miss Todd. This is my first book talk. The book I read was Prodigy. It's a part of the Legend series. Yeah, I'll get right into it. So, what is the genre of my book? The genre of my book is a dystopian young adult novel, which falls under the science fiction category. Some examples are character age. The two main characters, June and Day, their ages. June's age is 15, and Dage's ages. He's 15 and then he turns 16 in the book. And you can see that on page 13. Let me open it up. Yeah. Um, if you can see, I don't know if you can see clearly, but in text it has June's birthday, and then right here it has Day's birthday. And it just gives a little description, so I'll just do June's. It says missing SSS security number, social security number 20019630334. June, I Paris, agent, Los Angeles City Patrol. It says age and then genders. She's female, and then height 5'4", hair, and her hair is brown. My next example is the setting. In page 123, I'll just read it and then I'll describe. Just read it. Hold on. It says this. Kay goes on, sweeping her hand up north and down south. Canada and Mexico each keep a strict demilitarized zone between themselves and both the Republic and colonies. Mexico got her own share of patriots. Then here's whatever left of South America. This all used to be a huge continent too, but now it's Brazil. She points to a large triangular island far south of the Republic, Chile and Argentina. Kaye cheerily points out what the continents are and what they used to be. What I've seen as Norway, France, Spain, Germany, and the British Isles used to be part of a larger place called Europe. The rest of the Europe's people, she says, fled to Africa. Mongolia and Russia aren't extinct nations, contrary to the Republic's teaching. Australia used to be one solid landmass. Then there are superpowers. China's enormous floating metropolises are built entirely over the water and are currently black skies. Hachang Cade interjects, sea cities. I learned that Africa wasn't always as flourishing technology advanced continent it is today, gradually filling up with university skyscrapers and international refugees. And Antarctica, believe it or not, was once uninhabited and completely covered in ice. Now, like China and Africa, it houses the world's tech capitals and attracts a fair share of tourists. The Republic and the colonies have such pathetic tech in comparison. Kayet add, I'd like to visit Antarctica someday. It's supposed to be gorgeous. She tells the United States used to be one of the superpowers, then came the war. Gay nods. And all their top thinkers literally fled for higher ground. So as we can see, the world has changed. Argentina is not in South America anymore. It's a whole island due to climate change. Brazil is the only country that's kept in South America. China has flying cities. Um, Africa, we know now, obviously there's been struggles in Africa. Now it's the most developed country. Um, and now the United States is because of the war, the United States is the least developed country. Then my third is the moral dilemmas. In page 247 at the top, he says this. We know before he wanted the elector killed, but now he had to go through something, whether it was to help the elector or for him to let him die, and he chooses to help him. So 247. At the top of 247 says that uh, it says this uh elector. Guards, don't let the elector save the elector. He's in the car. Okay, so basically what he's doing, as I said earlier, he wanted the elector to die, but instead, at the last moment, he realizes that June was right and that they need to help keep the elector alive and help save him. So, mm, so the next part is list the characters and describe them. There's two main characters, June and Day, and I'll just start with June. So her personality, June is very independent. She's brave, and she has a really good mind. She's good at figuring things out. Um, she's tough, and she doesn't really trust people easily. She cares a lot about what's right and helps and likes helping kids affected by the war. She's very loyal to Day and will do anything for him. And obviously, at the end of the book, the Republic. Skills. June is great at fighting and making plans. Um, she's good at hacking and coding, and she's good at using her tech skills to get info on missions. Some motivations for June. She just wants freedom, fairness. She wants to bring down the government and make things better. Obviously, we see that she wants to help with Andon. Um, and her love for Day keeps her going. And then Day appearance. He has messy dark hair and very intense blue eyes. He's very smart and he's been through a lot. Obviously, his older brother was killed. His parents were killed. Um, he's skinny and strong, and he has scars from battles and the experiments that he was experimenting on. And his personality, Day seems. When I realized Dame was very grumpy and tough, but that's just because of the things he went through growing up. You know, he doesn't really trust a lot of people and he wants to look strong. He doesn't trust the government during the book, but at the end, you can see he knows that he has to trust in Andon if he wants the Republic to get out of the war and succeed. But deep down, when you get to know him, he's very caring, loyal. We can see that with June, and we can see that with his friend that he was with the whole time for a good amount of years. Yeah. And then skills. Uh, he's good at fighting, planning, and he's a good runner. A runner is someone that carries out missions and then has to escape. So he's good at like planting devices and he's good at fleeing from the Republic. And that's why he was so high on the Republic's list because he had been doing it for so long. Some motivation. During the book, they really wanted revenge on the Elector because of what he did to his family. He also wanted to get revenge for his brothers. Um, he also wants to protect June. So, the next one is explain the setting. Prodigy happens in the future. Um, this is where it happens in the Republic of America, which is one part, which there's two parts of the United States now, the colonies, the Republic of America. The Republic of America is really on the West Coast, and the colonies on the East Coast. The book takes the main place to take book takes place Denver, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas. The Republic is a very bossy government. You know, they're strict. And if you mess up, they don't really play nice. Time, the book doesn't really have a certain, it doesn't tell us when it takes place. But it's hinted that it's in the future. And you can, as I read earlier, China has flying cities and stuff like that. That's not gonna happen for a long time. So we can see that it takes place in a very distant place. As I said earlier, it takes place in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and Denver. Los Angeles, obviously we know today it's a high booming city, very commercial, actors, movies, but in the book, it's not like that. It's a falling apart city, and it's always under the military's thumb. There's a lot of poverty and violence. And in the flip side, Las Vegas is still where rich people hang out, and it's totally different. It doesn't really depict what it's really like living in the Republic for a normal person. So other books Mary Lou has written, obviously the Legend series. So Legend, Champion, Prodigy, and then Rebel. Those aren't in order, but those are just the books. And then she has another series, the Warcross series, Warcross, Wildcard. And then she has standalone novels like The Young Elites, The Rosette Society, Sky Hunter, Steel Striker. And then in novels, Life Before Legend, Stars Above, Shadow Below, and Jemina. The majority of these books were created in the 2010s, so she really likes to write, from what I can notice. So discuss the five major events in book order. Um, so the first major event is once they meet the Patriots in the assassination plan. So they in June, they head to Las Vegas with a mission to meet the Patriots because they want protection and they want to heal Day's leg because right now I think it's broken. Yeah, it's broken. So the Patriots, they're led by Razor. They offer a deal to fix Day's leg and to rescue his sibling Eden, and then in exchange, they would assassinate the new elector, Andon. And then June, and then during that time, June and Day share an intimate moment, and they agree to the Patriots plan because the only reason June's doing it is because she's so ride and die for Day, and then Day does it because he wants to save his brother. So the second big part is June's infiltration and interaction with Andon. So June becomes the bait to trap Andon because I think he has feelings for him. And Andon, if you didn't hear me before, is the new Elector Primo. So June's taken to the Vegas carrier hub, while Day is taken to the city of Lamar. June undergoes questioning by Thomas. Thomas is one of June's old mentors. So Thomas and June's brother actually had a relationship. Well, they didn't have a relationship, but June's brother had feelings for Thomas. But Thomas was the one that killed June's brother because June's brother was, hacking the government and things of that nature. So she successfully meets Andon and informs him of the face in that assassination plot. So the Patriots really want to assassinate Andon, but instead of just like having it out in the open, they create a whole plan where they want to assassinate him by leading him off a path. So it makes it seem like it was, it wasn't like what's the word? It wasn't uh they make it seem like it wasn't planned. And she actually takes the lie detector test and passes to prove her loyalty. And then revelation of the Republic's history and Andon's intentions. So Andon reveals his intentions to June, and he talks about the history of the Republic and explains the origin of the trials and their evolution over time. Before the trials are kind of like the Hunger Game trials, where people are elected. Before, people chose to go to the trials, but over time, the Senate, they changed the rules to make it seem like it had always been where you were elected. You didn't have a choice. June believes in Andon's vision to change the Republic for the better. So when Andon's talking to June, he actually persuades her, and she realizes that Andon just wants to help the Republic. He doesn't really care about the power, but he wants to help the people in need. Um, okay, so 4, escape and betrayal. So June prevents the assassination attempt on Andon, leading and Day helps. So what I read earlier, you saw Day called um the guards, the Elector's guards to help protect Andon. So June and Andon they flee to the colonies. And they do that under a tunnel, which they didn't know led to the colonies, but they just went under that tunnel so they could be safe. So Dave starts to blame June for his family's death, and he thinks he gets jealous because he saw that June kissed the Elector, which wasn't what she only did to make it seem like she actually liked him. And then despite their fight, as I said earlier, they flee to the colonies. And then the fifth part is the revelation of Razor's true allegiance in Day's speech. So Kaid reveals that Razor works for the Republic and is hired to kill Andon. And Day delivers a speech in the Republic. Day delivers a speech in the Republic and to support Andon and to reveal that Razor actually was a part of the Senate all along. So Razor, we thought he was hired by the colonies to assassinate Andon, but instead he was actually hired by senators. So Day is reunited with his brother Eden, but it's revealed in the book that Eden has a fatal brain disorder from the Republic's experience. Okay, so in your own words, tell me about the beginning of the book. So June and Day, they escape to Los Angeles, and they uh they travel to Las Vegas in pursuit of Tess and to get help from the Patriots. But um Day's leg doesn't allow him to move that fast, so they have to walk really slowly. And in Las Vegas, they disguise themselves as escorts because if they dressed up normally, people would be able to tell that it was them since they're very popular. And then as I told you earlier, the Republic showed that they said that June was missing. Instead, they actually want to catch her so they can put her on trial for um betraying them. So he aligns with Day and June, they align with the Patriots to help find Day's brother, and so they can kill the Andon, the elector. And Razor coordinates all of this. And at first they're not really certain, but they come to agreement that they'll do it just so they can help either the Republic go into war or so the colonies can take over. So this is part two. What is the problem of the book and how is it solved? One problem is the Republic's corruption and oppression. The Republic is portrayed as a corrupt government, and this creates an environment of fear, distrust, and rebellion. And then another problem is political upheaval and uncertain leadership. So as you know, the Senate really didn't believe in Andon, the new elector, and they didn't really believe that he could be lead since he's very young. And then some resolutions are June and Day's leadership. Oh, actually, let me add more. So even the Senate didn't believe in him, and the people didn't believe in him. And then this ties into resolution. So as we know, Day is a huge part. People believe in him. The people believe in him. The ones that are getting treated wrongly. And when Day aligns with the new elector, Andon gets that support that he's been needing. And then Andon's reforms is another resolution. He promises a more humane regimen, regime, and he implements some of reforms like freeing Day's brother, who was being used as a bioweapon. What was the author's purpose? To me, Mary Lou's purpose in Prodigy was to show that the Republic represents a messed up government full of corruption and oppression. The main character, June and Day, they fight for justice, showing, I think it shows Lou's interest in social justice and the need for people in power to be held responsible, especially, and I think this really ties to today all over the world. You see countries like Russia, North Korea, not to get political, their rulers are just, the rulers can do what they want without anyone questioning them. I think that's something that needs to be realized that that's not okay. Democracy is the way. That's what I believe. If you can continue the story, what events would you include? So this book is actually a trilogy, so there is a successor. But if I wanted to continue the story my way, I would create a love triangle between Day, June, and Andon. And during that time, I would also make it so the colonies would probably stop having a war as they start to create a peace treaty. So Andon would go to the colonies to create the peace treaty, but on the way, he's attacked by the Patriots who are still loyal to Razor, and everyone that was riding with him is killed except for Tess. And if you don't know who Tess is, she's the girl I was talking about earlier who was riding and died for Day. They've known each other for years, and Tess is in love with Day, but obviously we know June and Day they're like this, they're together. And I said it so Tess and Andon are trapped together. I'll say they fall in love. That's how I'll continue the story. Explain how the setting of the story made the book more interesting. To me, the setting makes the story seem more real, especially in the future. Whenever we see movies in the future, unlike the only other thing I can think about is video games, we think of a perfect society. Um, now we now in this book is really different because America isn't a perfect society. It's probably the most. It's the in this book it's the most messed up society in the world. They're fighting all the time. They don't believe in no one believes in the leaders on the Republic side. I think it makes. I think the rich the rich and fancy Las Vegas, like it doesn't depict what the like is living on. But the dangerous poor Los Angeles, it shows like Las Vegas and Los Angeles, it show the two sides of what the Republic's like. Either you're rich or you're poor. There's no in between. And I think that's still, and I think it makes it relatable. Personally for me, obviously, obviously this is one country, but you know, countries in what's an example? Um, South Africa. In South Africa back in the day, you were either rich or you were poor, and we knew that that had to do with like race and stuff like that. And I think that's what this book is trying to show you, that you can't really you can't really explain. You can't you have to look at the world in a different point of view. Not everything is perfect. That's what I'm saying. Did this book give you any new thoughts about yourself and life? What I wrote is this book did give me a new thought on my life. The book showed me how privileged I am. Obviously, I'm not as privileged as others, but I'm still privileged compared to others in the book. Especially characters like Day, Kaid, Day and Kaid, whose family has been killed. Things of that nature. I realized how privileged I was compared to others, especially humans who are living in poverty or in a war-torn country. Especially countries now, we know, obviously Palestine, Ukraine, countries being torn apart war. And I'm blessed enough to be living in the U.S. where that's probably not going to happen. And the book showed me that I need to stop thinking about myself all the time and think about other people around me. Uh, Part three. Did this book give you any new thoughts about yourself? Oh, if you were in a situation like the one in the book, how would you have acted? Even though I'm a male, instead of being Day, I would like to be June, honestly. She's more athletic. She has a high IQ. Up until in the lie detector test, I would have done everything the same. The first thing I would have changed is not telling the elector about the assassination attempt. Even though we didn't know Razor was hired in the Senate to assassinate, or was in charge of the assassination. If I was June personally, I would have figured it out earlier. I think my just instincts, I would have been able to figure it out. I would have signaled to Razor for an emergency meeting. Then I would have killed him. And then I would have told the elector about the assassination attempt. Um, if you could change the ending, what would you do and why? If I could change the ending, I would make sure Razor and the senators that one ending that would have been killed instead of being set up for trial. I think ending was too nice to them. I think he has to show that even though he's trying to be humble, he still has power. And if you try to disrespect him or try to kill him, there's going to be consequences. Provide 5 words that describe a character in your book and explain your choices. For Day, I said resilient. You know, Obviously we know his leg was broken. He still pushed through and got to Las Vegas. We know his family has been killed. He only has one sibling left alive. He has had his older brother, both his parents were killed, and he's still fighting, and he still wants the Republic to succeed. I'm gonna say resourceful. He's quick thinking. He knows how to utilize limited resources to overcome challenges. That's something I realized in the book. Um, he's he's haunted. He has painful memories of his past, and you know, I think that just I think the threat of like knowing that June could die at any time, I think it really torments Day. His love for June um is another word that I would use. He loves June. He'll do anything for her. And I think it's vice versa. And then I said conflicted. He's in the book at first he wants the elector to die, but over time you can see he's really thinking, is that really what he wants? And then at the end, obviously, he saves the elector. So I'm comparing June and Day. So they're both determined and resilient. They both faced immense hardship. Obviously, they both had siblings that have died. Um, from what I know, both of their parents have died. And they still find a way to, stand tall. And you can really tell that you can't really tell that affects them. I said they're both resourceful and smart. Both of the characters throughout the book, they're smart. They can fight. They know how to use limited items to their advantage. They're problem solvers, and they think really quickly. Um, I said their compassion and loyalty to each other. They both love each other. That's really what I can say. They both care for each other a lot, and I think that's something in the book you realize as you keep on reading. Some motivation, motivation and approach. I feel like June's motivation is to dismantle the oppressive senators in the republic, and she wants to establish a society that's fair for all. Um, on a Day, on the other hand, for me personally, you can see that he's driven by revenge. He doesn't. I wouldn't say he doesn't care about the people, but I think over time in the book, he definitely does start caring about the people. He does definitely start thinking not just for himself but for others. But for most of the book, I would say that he's only focused on killing the elector. He doesn't really care. His motivation is revenge. Well, I think June's motivation is, she wants reform. I said the emotional part. June, she's very conserved. She has a hard time expressing herself. That's something I really realized. Obviously, she can, but she's so smart that she tends to second guess herself. I would say Day, on the other hand, he knows. I think he's very good at controlling his emotions. He knows what to say, but not as good as June. And I think that's something that makes them different. Day, if you get on his nerves, we saw he punched on this guy that said that June betrayed him. Um, he's he he screamed at June because he started to think that she's the reason his family got killed. Um, I think the leadership style, June is very she's a leader. She's born to lead. She likes to inspire others. She's very courageous. She has a lot of determination. While Day, on the other hand, I think he's more of a leader for the shadows. We saw when he told the people that they should believe in Andon. Um, I feel like you know that's really something that he he knew he had to do, but you could tell that he was really worried about how he's going to deal with. He likes to lead in the shadows. He likes to be an example, and he doesn't like to show off. He likes for people to see what he does. He doesn't. He wants people to. He doesn't want. He doesn't really care about other people's opinion. He only cares about his own and the people around him. Um, One problem I had the book was how easy it was for Andon to um forgive anyone, especially June. In the predecessor to this book, June frees Andon. No, June frees Day. Before he is going to be assassinated. Instead of at least giving June an easy punishment, I think he forgave her way too easily. Another example would be with Razor and the Senators. Obviously, I said this earlier. Instead of, I personally would have killed him. He let them go on trial. Maybe they die in the next book, but I don't know. To me, the climax of the book is when June and Day are reunited and they save Andon from being gunned down by the Patriots. Um, to me, this is the climax because the scene hadn't this scene had been anticipated for so long, but when it happened, the reader, they were ready for it. They had to be excited. Part 6. If you could save only one character from the book, who would you save? I would personally say Kate. She obviously she dies in the book, but if I could save her, I would. Not from the book, but obviously just from the whole. She's the person I would save from the book. Um, she risked her life for Day and June. She's reliable. She's a good friend. She knows what it's like to live in the colonies. She lived there growing up. She grew up there living. She lived there growing up. I think her actions in the book show personally to me they show why morally she's the best character and the most humble character. You can tell all she wants is peace for the people in the Republican colonies. Which character in the book would you choose as a friend? Personally, I would choose June. I think she's the most reliable. Obviously, I said Kaid was morally the best, but I think June, her her brains, her fighting ability, I think she's too good of a friend to not have. And then to me, the most interesting part of the book is when Day and June found their way to the colonies. Even though June didn't get see a lot of the colonies because she was sick, I think this really helped shape Day's image, and it helped both of them realize that the colonies the colonies aren't really different from the Republic. Um, the same thing happens everywhere, and I think that's why you can see Day really start to believe that the Republic can change if the right leader is in charge. And then another part is when Kaid steals, and this is exactly why I like her. She's resilient. She doesn't give up. She doesn't stop battling for her friends. She steals a fighter jet and flies it over the colonies and into the Republic. And she didn't get shot down. That's something that I took away and I thought was really cool. Um, yeah, I answered all the questions I needed to. Thank you, Ms. Todd. I hope you're having a great day.